host, Julian, on the call. I am based out of California. I do Touchpix support, been doing Touchpix support for the last 3 years or so. We will be exhibiting at Photo Booth Expo in London come September. We will be at Photo Booth Expo USA come February of 2024. So we have a lot of new users. We have a lot of new content. We're going to be releasing a lot of new features, but for today's webinar, we'll be touching on GoPro. So just give us a couple more minutes and then we're about to get started. Thanks. All right, let's get started. So today's webinar is going to consist again on GoPro connection with the Touchpix app. Again, my name is DJ. I'll be your host for today's webinar. Like I mentioned earlier, I've been with Touchpix for about 3 years, working the support team and the exhibit side of things. We will be at PBX London come September, and we plan to be at PBX Las Vegas in 2024 in late February. Today, I have my co-host Julian on the call as well. I'm based out of California, Central Coast, California, and I'll let Julian introduce himself and we can go from there.
Hey everybody, my name is Julian. I'm from Mexico. I'm located in northern Mexico. I've been part of Touchpix for more than a year now. For those that were in Vegas in this year, I was there, and I will be also with you in PBX London. And I'm part of the support team when we were in the calls. Now with the chat, I'm most of the days there, you know, and also I was in the WhatsApp line before it was, moved to the chat, and glad to be here with you.
Thank you, Julian. So we will be, let me stop the share real quick. I got a couple more people jumping in. And the reason why we started late is typically I like to provide links to a lot of things that I use personally. I'm also an end user. I forgot to mention that I do use Touchpix. I do own a multi-op company, and I'm an end user. So I've tried a lot of different apps. I've tried a lot of different programs, and Touchpix is the one that resonated best for my use. It doesn't mean anything in the sense of I want you guys to feel comfortable using the app and seeing if it works for you. We'd love to have you on board, but we understand that you're the end user. We should make it very easy for you to use. We should be able to answer any questions that you have that may come forth. And this is why we have a 24-hour chat line now, because we find it very handy to answer questions. We understand that users use this app primarily on the weekends while they do their events. And we want to be able to support you guys because we know if you're successful, our brand will be successful. So if you check your chat box, I'm including several links of what I personally use within Touchpix. These are the accessories that I would recommend. They're true and tried. So I like to put them almost like in the middle of the chat, based on the fact that I know people jump in late, then they ask, hey, DJ, I don't have anything. I don't see anything. I'd like the links again. So hopefully most of you are able to capture that. And I'm waiting for this little video to download, because I'm going to show you the connection method for every single GoPro. I'll show you a live sample as well with a screen mirror. Let me show you guys actually now before the video downloads, and I can go ahead and start the presentation as soon as the video downloads. So I'm going to be sharing my screen here, and excuse what I call a little bit of a technological mess, but it's the easiest way to get the point across. So let me see here. So you guys are able to see my screen now, and I'm just going to use the camera app here. Okay, so here I got a GoPro 7, I got a GoPro 10, I do have an Android Google Pixel 6a, GoPro 11, iPhone 12. I'm also going to highlight quickly at the end our Printpix box and how quickly it prints and how different it is from the air print boxes that you may hear of out there from competing brands, and how I prefer this over any of the air prints, right? So I'll just shoot you a quick demo before I go into it, because I know my video is almost done downloading. So here I got Touchpix. This is connected. I'm going to show you guys actually the connection here. Let me disconnect it from the GoPro here. I got it connected to a 10, right? So I'm assuming you guys are familiar with Touchpix and how to get into the event settings. And I'm just going to disconnect it from the wired GoPro, and you can see for yourself how quickly it is. So right now I'll give you an error because I disconnected it. Okay, so here we go. So once you have your event set up, in this case, I'm using a photo experience, and I'm also using a slow-mo experience. So this is kind of a way that I like to teach a lot of the end users where you can make extra money. Can you take pictures with Touchpix? Absolutely. Can you use it for 360 slow motion? Absolutely. Can you use both at the same time? Absolutely. It really depends on your comfort level and your skill as far as how you're going to manage that. By no means am I saying that everybody should be offering a dual type of experience like this, but this is a great way to generate extra revenue and upsell this experience. I wouldn't recommend throwing it in for free, but if you want to practice at 1 or 2 events, by all means, go ahead and do that. But this is an add-on feature, right? The way I work it with my Photo Booth 360 is I load up 2 experiences. I load up an experience for photo, and I also load up an experience for the slow motion, right? If you have great illumination, which is the outside lighting or lighting for your subjects, I kind of use my 360 arm to position the subject on top of the 360. And before I start a 360 session, I always run a photo session. But before we do that, we're going to connect the wired connection over to the Touchpix app here. So once you have your events loaded, you're going to click on the little hamburger icon. You're going to click on camera. These are your settings here. I'm going to toggle over to the GoPro connection. And there's a little button here that says connect to GoPro. In those links, I have all the dongles that are recommended, the Apple dongle and one with a pass-through. I use a generic pass-through, but actually what I'm going to recommend all our users is to use a single one here. Because some of these pass-through dongles, if you get a generic one, it's not going to work for you. And I want you guys to be Give me 1 sec here. I think my headphone disconnected. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, DJ.
Yeah.
It looks like it connected again. Okay, so let's hope I don't have any issues with my headset. So yeah, I'm going to recommend the official Apple dongle. If you're using an iPhone, you're going to want to get the USB to Lightning adapter. Official Apple. Do not get generics. I'm using one with the pass-through just because I've been testing. The one with the pass-through, the reason why I'm testing and I use it is because I'm also linking you to batteries here. This is the reason why I show you this. If you get a battery pack that has a USB-C power out and a cable that goes into Lightning, it will charge your phone at the same time. So this is a great tool. You don't need to do this, but this is a great way to do it if in the event you elect to go this route, although I am recommending this route. With this route, you're not able to charge your iPhone, but I have something for you. I also included what's called the MagSafe battery pack. So in essence, I could stick this MagSafe battery pack right in the back of my phone, and you see it's stuck on there. I'll show you. And that also charges my phone at the same time. It's extremely powerful. It's not going to fall off.
Yes, it is.
And you can definitely use that method as well, because I am recommending this, okay? So I'm going to show you how to do a quick GoPro connection for the GoPro 10. It also applies to the 11. I'm going to hit GoPro, connect to GoPro. And actually here, you're going to want to put your GoPro into pairing mode, which is you flick down on the 10 or 11, go into connections, connect to device, the quick app. In my case, it's the GoPro 1290. Once I select 1290, it's asking me if I want to do a wireless or a wired connection. Right when you see this question, you're going to go ahead and now connect the USB-C to the side of your GoPro. The other end is connected to your phone via dongle. I'm going to go ahead and connect it. Excuse me, because I'm working with one hand here. The important piece is this here. You must see your GoPro display indicate as USB connected. Once it says USB connected, you're going to proceed and hit wired connection, 10 or 11, and boom, it connected right away. As soon as you see this, you're good to go. Later, we're going to be teaching more advanced courses. I'd like to teach more advanced courses with the GoPro Pro Tune. I think it's a great tool. This is what's going to separate a lot of the beginners to more pro end users in the sense that you have capability of enhancing your videos, but you must understand proper lighting, right? A lot of people use their GoPros on automatic settings. Some work well for people, some do not work well because they do not know how to adjust the exposures. They don't know how to adjust the ISOs. And those are more pro level features that you should know in the sense of you're getting into the photo booth industry and you should have some photography skills. If not, there's tons of YouTube videos that teach you about those specific settings. So hopefully in the future, we can isolate a more advanced class to go over some of those details. But in this case, my GoPro is connected. I'm going to hit go back and I'm going to do a quick slow-mo session here. So I'm going to click slow-mo session. I'm going to stand back. You see my GoPro turned on and now it's going through the countdown. You can set your countdown obviously as you want. I'm just going to wave my hand here right in front of it so you can see it's taking the video, recording, it's still recording. And now it's done recording. So with the wired connection, it's super fast processing. Again, it's throwing all the effects, throwing in your boomerangs, throwing in your overlay. If you have an animated overlay, your audio, adjusting video, and you should get a video playback now. So that's how fast it is with the wired connectors. This is why we recommend that GoPro wired so much over the wireless connection, right? You're gonna have more of a solid connection. Every venue can present wireless issues. If you're not prepared for them, it can create some headaches. So we are always going to recommend that. In this case, you can go ahead and, for the people that are at home, you can probably scan the QR code and you should be able to see it. Wait, actually, I don't have it connected to the internet, so you won't be able to see it. The reason I don't have it connected to the internet is, I'll show you why, okay? Because I'm also going to do a photo experience, just so you can see that they both work at the same time. So I'm going to do a photo experience here.
So I have a quick question before you.
Just give me 1 second. Let me just show this photo experience. So I'm going to just go show the battery. I already started. And it's showing the photo experience. It automatically toggled. I don't have to move the settings on the GoPro. It'll toggle from photo to video on its own. And it's downloading the media. You see it, and it starts printing right away with our Printpix box, right? This is not an AirPrint where you're going to see that generic iPad screen pop up. You saw the printer lock in loaded. It's already starting. This is a DMP QW410 that I have here, and it's starting the printing process already. This is a great way to generate more money, right? If you have great lighting and you want to capture a photo for your guests and demand a little bit more money, then you'll have it there. And there you go. There it is. Quick little way. Now I'll take your question, and I'm sorry about that. Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's no problem. So I've been having issues connecting my 11 to Touchpix. I have the official wires, I have the Apple USB to with C connector.
Okay.
And for some reason, when I go to click it to select wire mode, it keeps saying like it's an error.
Okay.
Like it cannot connect.
So this would be a good one-on-one. So we also, with Touchpix, we offer one-on-one Zoom calls, right? So it is our touchpix.com/meet. /meet. And I'll put it in the chat. But the reason why we would schedule this type of one-on-one is because personally, when I work the support lines, I would like to see exactly what you're seeing. There's a couple of things that come to mind when you say that, when you get an error, right? If you're hooking up your GoPro wired, there's a lot of times where people go a little too fast. And when they're on the GoPro connection side, did you see where I specifically stopped and said, you have to wait for the USB mode on your GoPro to kick on? A lot of people overlook that area and they assume that your GoPro's on USB mode and it's going to kick an error. It's going to kick an error 9 out of 10 times. So what I would recommend is to ensure that we're following the steps. In the proper sequence. Sequence is key on getting this to work about 100% of the time, or close to 100% of the time. So let's go ahead and schedule a one-on-one. Any of our reps can definitely help you, including myself, and we can get you up and going. So typically when I hear people with these types of errors, there's a couple of things that happen. It's either a sequence issue because you're going so fast. Troubleshooting number 2 is that you might have purchased a wrong dongle, but I'm hearing that you purchased the Apple dongle, which that might not be the case. And issue number 3 is a bad USB cable, bad USB-C to USB cable. Those are your top 3 issues that would display that error message. But just doing a quick one-on-one through Zoom, I think we can definitely pinpoint your area of concern, and we can get you up and going.
Okay, yeah. You said you were going to drop the link in the chat.
Yeah, let me do that now. Julian, can
Okay.
you drop that Zoom link on the chat, please? I'm trying to load up this video over here. Let me see.
Sorry, DJ, which link? I was replying some questions here on the chat.
Oh, sure.
Another
We're gonna do the meet link.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let me write it here. I'm just writing it. Yeah,
No
there it
problem.
is.
Okay. So
Thank
are you
you.
guys able to see my GoPro 7 on your screen now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So this is the GoPro 7. This is the video that I was waiting to upload, and I'm glad it's up and going now. And I'm just going to go ahead and explain the process. Don't worry, we will have time for questions and answers. I appreciate all 18 of you who are on this call. You will get your questions answered by the end of this session. I just want to explain the process of connections. And then once we're done, we're going to open it up for questions to see how we can better support everybody. So this is my GoPro 7. And again, this is the GoPro 10. And these are my preferred dongles, I'm going to call them, right? That's the preferred one for the GoPro 10 and 11. I'm experimenting with this Apple that's shown me some consistency, but I wouldn't recommend it as of yet. The last one was a USB-C for people that are using iPad Pros with USB-Cs, and I highlighted the Printpix box there. So this is the GoPro 7. This one of the recommendations that I have here for the GoPro 7. Let's go a little bit back on this video. Is I always recommend people that are using GoPro 7 to remove the battery, and you're going to power up your GoPro 7 the old. I'm going to call it the old school way, because the GoPro 7 is probably the GoPro that introduced was one of the equipments identified as the standard equipment for 360s for a long time, and still is. But in this case, with the GoPro 7, it used to have an overheating issue. Sorry, I got somebody here. Sorry about that. So it used to have an overheating issue. And the only way to remedy that was to remove the battery and power up your GoPro with a battery pack. So to avoid any wireless issues with the GoPro, what I always recommend is to set your GoPro to never power off. That would be my standard recommendation, because if it powers off and goes into sleep mode, then chances are that the network connection that it uses, it would disconnect and you would run into issues. So you need to go into preferences. Always, this is what I recommend for any GoPro that you have, whether it be the 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11. When you're first starting off, I recommend everybody first go into preferences, look for your reset option. And from your reset option, I want you guys to format your SD card. That would enable you to have a fresh start. With the newer GoPros, I think it's from 9 on, the micro SD card that it's recommended, it's a V30, it's a high-speed micro SD card. Some of the newer GoPros will tell you they will not work properly unless you have the proper micro SD card inserted. So just be mindful of that. So I always recommend to go with the format, or even if you need to reset your camera, that's where it needs to be. Another function, if you notice there, I'm going to go back just a tad bit there, is these are the settings that I typically shoot at. If you look at your GoPro camera, you need to make sure you're shooting at 1080, 120 frames per second. 120 frames per second is identified as slow motion, right? You can actually shoot at 240 frames per second, which is real slow motion. However, I do not recommend that if you're starting off. If you're a pro end user, you can experiment with that to see if you have adequate lighting. Once you're shooting at 240 frames per second, you need very good lighting for it to look well, right? If you don't have good lighting and you have some inexpensive lighting, you're going to see a lot of light flickering because it's shooting at a super high frame rate. It's going to capture that. So for the purposes of this tutorial, I want everybody to focus just on 120 frames per second and 1080. Again, if you are a pro level user and you know your way around the software, I'd encourage you to experiment with 240. I'd actually also encourage you to experiment with 4K. And this is where you make those adjustments, right? Another thing from this screen is, again, you can control the ISO, you can control Pro Tune here, and you can do everything within the camera. I loved the GoPro 7 because it was easy to use and make some adjustments. The other thing with our software is we're going to recommend that, okay, we're doing the GoPro connection here. So I'm going to hit connect to GoPro. So in this case, as you can see, once I put the GoPro on pairing mode, it detected my Hero 7 Black, right? So I'm going to go ahead and hit wireless. It doesn't work with wired, but it works with wireless on the 7, 8, and 9. And it's going to make the connection. It's going to ask you to join the network. Once it asks you to join the network, you're ready to go, right? And you're going to go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and do a sample run here, I believe. I hit slow-mo, and this one does not work on picture mode like the 10, but it is recording on slow-mo. And once it's done recording, again, it takes a little bit to process. I recommend the wired method over this, but if you don't have one of these newer GoPros, then just expect a little bit added delay on the wireless side of things. So that's how you connect the GoPro 7. In my experience, there is an option for it to connect on legacy mode. I have better luck with legacy mode off than with it on, but it connects the same. This is the connection for the GoPro 10, which I just went over, right? Put it on pairing mode. Once it's on pairing mode, it detects my GoPro 10. Now I'm going to grab the USB. I'm going to go ahead and put it inside the camera. Again, it's hard to work with one hand. That's the part that I mentioned. Once you see the USB mode, it connects right away. And it gives you a bunch of options. Now you can go ahead and hit slow-mo, and it should record right away. Again, it's still 1080p, 120 frames per second. As you can see on wired mode, it doesn't charge when it's recording, but it does charge when it stops recording. So your battery inside your 10 or 11, you don't have the overheating issues. And once it stops recording, your iPhone technically charges your GoPro battery, which is awesome, especially if you have that MagSafe feature. It becomes a really, really cool feature for you to do, right? So this is just kind of showing the photo booth side. In this case, I accidentally had it set to strips, but nonetheless, I just showed you guys how to print. This is the Printpix box. You need to connect the Wi-Fi to the Printpix box. Once it's on network, it automatically loads the default IP. You hit the printer that you have. In this case, my QW doesn't do strips, but if you have a photo booth printer that does strips, you can do that. Set it at 4x6, and you're gonna see it do its thing again, where I'm doing just a test shot here of my little DJ controller. And it's loading, and then auto prints. Auto print function, you can load that from the actual Touchpix web-based setting. So it prints automatically. You can't auto print with AirPrint with our system. I'm not sure if you can do it with any system for that matter, but it doesn't automatically print with the AirPrint system. The thing that I dislike with the AirPrint system is that every time you hit print, it brings up that iPad screen. And for me, it kills the experience, and it doesn't look as professional as your native app. So, this is just a quick rundown on the differences between connecting the GoPro 7 wireless, the GoPro 10. The GoPro 10 and 11 work identical. So I just wanted to go ahead and highlight those, but I know there's a lot of questions coming, so I definitely want to take advantage and offer you the time that you deserve for being on this call and answer any questions that you guys may have. Was this video helpful on how to make the connections? Is there still some uncertainties that I can assist with as far as making the connection with the GoPro? Just go ahead and raise your hand and we can definitely call on you as we go. That way we avoid talk over.
Yeah, DJ.
Yeah, who am I speaking with?
This is Roy.
Roy, how you doing, Roy?
Yeah, you helped me out a couple of times with other issues too. You and Julian too. You know,
Awesome, man.
Great support. As far as the 4K, can we use that? Can we use that on Touchpix?
Sorry, I was taking a little sip of water there.
The 4K.
Yeah, so the 4K you are able to use on Touchpix. So before you go over to the 4K, let me do a screen share here real quick. Let me see if I can, give me 1 second. I'll go back into our system, the way it works, and I'll show you exactly where you need to be to make that work. Here we go.
Because I thought this software wouldn't let us use it.
Yeah, so the software does let you use 4K, but there's a couple of prerequisites that you need to understand before going into 4K. So I'm going to go ahead and go into, I'm just going to go into a random event that I've, that I've had here. I think I'm showcasing one of these older events here. Let's try to go here. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this event. And this event, so you can see how it's set up. Right. It's your standard GoPro event. You can set the countdown to whatever it is that you want. This is the wrong event. But if you had, like I said, if you wanted to do automatically print, you can hit auto print here for the people who had that question and using our Printpix box. Okay, so that's where you set auto print, and then yeah, this is the wrong event. But see, I had slow-mo and I had photos and I had auto print checked off on the one that I showed you. The slow-mo boomerang is enabled. Obviously, all of this is pretty similar to how you set up an event for those that are familiar. In-app gallery. So the thing with 4K is none of these sharing methods will work outside of AirDrop because the file is too big, right? Oh. It's extremely big for 4K. We cannot host that size files in our online gallery. It just would cost an insane amount of money for us to be able to provide that. But like anything else, you can save your event files. And I will show you in one of the events that I've loaded. If you choose to use 4K, you can save it to your personal Google Drive. You can save it to your personal Dropbox, right? That would be one of the options you have for shooting 4K. And when you go over to our designer after you press OK on your event and you log into our online designer. Right. This is the other important piece that you need to keep in mind when shooting 4K is I opened up the designer. You see this option right up here on the left-hand side that says 4K. Yeah. You need to design a 4K template, right? It's no longer, the parameters are no longer, set to like the 1080 default. Right. And it gives you a quick explanation here that, 4K videos have to be wired for the GoPro, right? And it can't be uploaded onto our cloud, right? And options such as WhatsApp, email, and SMS, QR code are no longer working. So the only sharing option, there's two of them. It would be AirDrop, and it would be the use of ScanPix, the sharing without the use of any type of internet connection, like QR code. So once you make the change, you hit change to 4K, and you start making your design like you would normally, right? Right. You go over to manage design, or you go into our design library. Like I said, Touchpix includes hundreds of templates for any type of event, included in a subscription price, which makes it an awesome value for you, all the customers, right? For example, 4th of July is coming. Maybe I want to do a 4th of July style template. And if you notice, let's go back over to templates right now, and I'll show you. Because it just did it briefly and it just went away, right? the template sizes change, right? And these are your 4K
Wow.
size templates, right? They're they're larger, but they're gonna look more crisp, and it's probably gonna be the best quality out there right now. I don't know if any software actually right now is able to shoot at 4K with the GoPro, but this is something that we do recommend with the wired connection. And obviously you can change out same thing with the normal designer. You can change out any of the elements. You can add specific fonts to your liking. We have a large font library. You can delete it, certain color sequences or certain things, and reposition them. So everything is super easy to edit, and we make it very easy for our users. That way you're not spending a whole lot of time on the design element, but delivering the service. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect,
Okay, so I can basically want to test with the 4K. So I thought it was like a software issue, we couldn't do it and stuff. But now
No,
it's a lot better to me.
Ever since the GoPro 11 came out, I think our main focus was 4K, and our main focus is driving on making the user experience a lot better and trying to have the best quality product out there, right? And if you're on any of our Facebook groups, we also have tutorials on the official YouTube page for Touchpix. But if you're on our Facebook group for Touchpix,
Yeah.
I know it's a little, it may be a little misleading, because you see so many people that are on there, and a lot of people do a great job, but then there's a lot of people that need extra coaching because their quality is not where it needs to be. And some of those people are okay with that, but you know, it just really depends on you and what your standard is and how you want to set yourself apart. You know, I think a lot of people just use automatic settings and they're off and they're going, and it's okay if that's what you want to do, but it's hard to really gauge what Touchpix is capable of achieving if you don't fully understand it and don't take it if you don't take it pretty serious, you know. Any other questions out there that I can answer?
I have a question for you.
Sure. Who am I speaking with?
This is Chris from Stockton. How are you?
Hey, Chris, what's up, man?
How are you doing, man?
Good, man. We're good. He's closer to my area.
Yeah. Hey, I have a question. I know you went over the Apple products and the GoPro. Have you got into like the Canon M50 or just regular cameras for this type of thing?
I do. I don't want to confuse our users, but I'm going to tell you briefly what I use. Just because this segment is strictly on the GoPro, but we will be having more segments on that type of use. I have used the M50. I was using it for a long time. I'm a big fan of the M50. Now it's my secondary camera, and I've upgraded to the M6, right? So the Canon M6 camera it's kind of identical to the M50.
The small one, yeah.
Yeah, it's the slow motion side on the M6. The M50 is only able to shoot at 720. So it's high definition, but it's not 1080p, right? It's 720p. The M6 is able to shoot at 1080p. So that's why I made that jump.
Okay, got it. Cool.
Hey, nice hearing from you, Chris. Anytime, man.
Nice. I should be in Watsonville soon. So
right on, man. Let's connect for something.
Absolutely.
All right, Chris. Nice hearing. Any other questions?
So DJ, how much did the M6 run you?
You know what? Man, it's hard to say. I tend to spend a lot of money on equipment. I must have grabbed it on a Black Friday sale. I think it ran me probably close to $500.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they go a little. I think normal price at that time they were going for about 6 or 7, regular price or something like that, or maybe more. I'm not too sure, but I grabbed it at a time where it was on sale.
Okay.
Any other questions regarding the connections to the GoPro? Was the video helpful on how to make the connection?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
DJ, I got another question. Sorry.
Sure.
I was seeing in one of your video, you had, I don't know if I was going crazy, but you had 2 GoPro stacked on top of each other. Or was
No,
I
so
seeing
so
something?
yeah, I get a lot of feedback on that, and I don't want to confuse people, but part of my role here with Touchpix support is to do a lot of like testing out when I'm
Right.
doing my own events. So it may look a little crazy to a lot of people saying, "Hey, why is he using a?" On that video, I was using my Canon. I think it was my either my M6 or my M50, and I
Right.
had a GoPro above it.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, I had a GoPro above it on mounted on the hot shoe.
I didn't-
And for me, I like to test a lot of cameras uh, because with the DSLRs versus the GoPro,
Hmm.
the DSLRs are able to kind of create a unique look based on the lens that you use. You're able to swap out lenses and create somewhat of a different look. And if you properly light it again, it just looks a little different than what everybody else is doing out there. So that's the only reason I do it. It's not because it's more of a preference type thing. If you're happy with the product, with the GoPro, which I am very happy with the GoPro's output myself, but I like to test out there to see what works best for me. And if something works good, man, I always like to promote it because I want the industry to get better and better as we start kind of harnessing our skills in the photo booth industry.
What about the lens size? What lens size do you recommend?
For the Canon, I think I was using a 10 by 18. I tried an 11 by 22.
Hmm.
I'm really a fan of the Sigma lenses.
Oh, Sigma.
Yeah, Sigma makes some really, really nice lenses that have quick autofocus, really good bokeh effects to them. So, if you can get anything in the 16 millimeter range,
16.
16 or maybe a little lower, I think you'll be fine. It's just really hard to throw some recommendations. I recommend if you can rent a lens, there's sites out there that let you rent them so you can try them. And then you can, without having to fork out, because they're pretty pricey. Lenses are pretty pricey.
Hmm.
So if you can rent them and try them and see what works for you, then I'd recommend that route.
Okay.
Any other questions with the GoPro? This is your time for me to answer any questions, or you want to ask Julian any questions on the chat. I mean, I think the GoPro, a lot of people have struggled with the GoPro, but at the same time, I want people to understand that once you understand how the GoPro works, specifically on the wired side, you will not look back. It's a solid and stable connection.
Yes.
The processing is extremely fast compared to wireless. I started with the wireless connection with Touchpix, and it wasn't perfect, right? And that's why we've been building on the brand and making it better all the time. And there was some delays. There was, I think, one venue that gave me such a hard time. I think it was a basement somewhere where I don't know why I just was not able to use my GoPro wirelessly. It wasn't. I reset the camera. I was not able to connect with it. I like to travel with backup plans, and I actually had a DSLR with me.
Yep.
So I always recommend and will always recommend, because the last thing you want to do,
You better have a backup plan.
yeah, the last thing you want to do is refund somebody their money or ruin their event, right? Because they're hiring you as a professional. So you should have a backup option. I don't care what it is, even if it's an iPhone and you're going to stick it up there, you should always have a backup option. So knowing that, just prepare, because the last thing you want to do is hand somebody their money back, right? And we are only providing you the tools. We have these webinars to train you to make sure that everything can go as perfect as possible, even though that doesn't exist. But, our software, I think, is super stable. If you know how to use it well and go through the proper sequence, you're not going to have any issues.
You gotta practice.
Yeah, it's practice, and that's why we beefed up the support, because we understand there's a lot of people, and this is not me trying to get on and put anybody in a compromising situation, but we do get calls on a Saturday or a Friday, and people are stressed out. They said, "Hey, I just purchased your app right now. how do you use it? You know, and that puts us and it puts them in a situation of a disadvantage. So this is why we offer these webinars. We like to flood YouTube with tutorial videos. We want to answer any question that you guys may have. That way you guys are successful. Because at the end of the day, if you're successful doing what you're doing, we're going to be successful as an app company.
Mm-hmm. But DJ, say if you had the GoPro and you had, say, for instance, the iPhone 11, 12, or 13 hooked up, and the GoPro gave you problems. You can just disconnect the cable, go from GoPro to back camera. You know what I mean? Just as far as putting the iPhone on a spinner and you back in action again. That's like a backup plan too.
Exactly.
That happened to me one time.
It
took me about 5-10 minutes.
It's as easy as that. It's as easy as that. You know, just make up that backup plan. Be your iPhone. iPhone takes great videos too. A lot of people frowned upon them because they're iPhones and they don't want the customer to see that there's an iPhone recording. But at the end of the day, you know, you're there to provide a service, and if your service videos look really nice and great, then you know people are going to be happy regardless. At the end of the day, this is a service that we provide to capture memorable moments, to capture these special moments in lives. And, you know, I think it's a happy atmosphere to begin with. And we just want to make sure that we're delivering on that. So you don't have to have a bad reputation. So you don't have to give money back. But this is where the trainings come in, and it does take some practice. You know, I'm 3 years in and I'm still learning every day. I'm very well versed with technology and how to kind of maneuver through different scenarios, but you know, I think a lot of you can be in that same level of expertise. It just takes a little bit of practice and repetition, and the way you go. Where if you go to an event and it gives you an error, you can revert back to these videos and say, oh man, DJ was talking about the dongle, or he was talking about the right sequence. And if you have the right sequence, then it's really unstoppable. You're able to provide these services for anybody.
I tell you, be happy when you see that USB symbol, boy. You be happy.
Oh
that.
yeah, well, when you see the USB
cracking
mode,
champagne when you see that.
yeah, when you see that USB mode, for sure. I think a lot of people get stuck with that because they're, you know, I was guilty of it myself earlier on. I go too fast and I forget certain steps.
A lot of sequence,
you know.
Yep, you will. You won't see it.
So if it's helpful, you know, always work on a checklist. Have a checklist as a note on your iPhone under notes. Have a checklist. This is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. I don't think you will get up to step 5. I think if you can keep it under 5 steps, you'll be fine. Step 1, do this. Step 1, power on your GoPro. Put it on Bluetooth pairing. Step 2, power on your iPhone. Make sure everything's updated. iOS is updated, because that's another big thing too. People do not update their iOS devices. People do not update their apps. Make sure that you're up to date all the time. Step 2, make sure everything's updated and you power on your iPhone. Step 3, turn on Touchpix, toggle over to camera, make the GoPro connection, right? Step 4, once you see the prompt for wireless or wired connection, connect your wired GoPro into your GoPro and the iPhone. Then step 5 can be, once you see the USB mode signal, hit OK, and boom, you're good to go. It's 5 simple steps.
So I have a question real quick. It's Chris again. So during this time where you're using a GoPro, you're not using the battery itself, right? It's all wired, so it's charging the GoPro as well.
Yeah, so it's charging the GoPro itself. I've gone through a 4-hour event, Chris, and I think I still had about maybe 23% battery. So make sure that you start off with the 100% battery. My recommendation, always, right? Take an extra backup battery for your GoPro. Always, right? Always be prepared. Yes. Always be prepared, man.
I take 3, 4 of them with me.
Yeah, always be prepared, because it does charge it, but it really depends, you know, the little nuances that I didn't cover, like One would be your screen brightness. You don't need your screen brightness on your GoPro to be at 100%,
Nope.
right?
Yeah.
You don't need your screen brightness on your iPhone to be at 100%.
Nope.
You can taper those down to like 10%, 15, whatever is visually good for you, right? Because I know there's people out there with better eyesight than me. They may be able to go down lower, but whatever works for you, that'll conserve battery for sure, right? So I've done a 4-hour event. I still had 23% juice on my GoPro, and I still have the MagSafe battery probably at maybe, I don't know, 35% still, 40%. It still had pretty good juice on it for a 4-hour event. So I'll always have that in mind, right? Try to set yourself up for success.
Yeah, I use the
Is there
battery. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
is there any cost to the one-on-one consultations?
No cost, man.
Wow.
We take a lot of pride in our support staff.
Okay.
No cost. You know, like I said, we have a great support team almost 24 hours a day. We offer support in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. There's a lot of Portuguese users out there. So yeah, 24/7 support. And if you need like a one-on-one, all you got to do one-on-one, though, I will say this, we tried to gear the one-on-ones Monday through Thursday, Friday if there's availability. Friday if there's availability, because Fridays and Saturdays our attention remains on people who are
event
doing
support
active events.
Yeah.
So that's our main priority.
All right, cool.
But yeah, there's no added charge to any of that.
That's good to hear. Much appreciated too.
No problem, man. I know it's a bit of a learning curve. A lot of people have questions regarding 360. We're getting a lot of more users coming on board with the photo booth side. We do have like built-in remove background effects. Like you don't have to take a backdrop if you have great lighting with great flash per photo booth. You can use the remove background. There's a lot of advanced features that I think a lot of users have only heard about or haven't really touched into the pro level features, right? We're able to do animated overlays with the alpha transparency. It processes extremely fast. We can do intros and outros. We just have a large effects bank as well that I think people only tend to use 3 or 4 of them, but try them out, see what's a good fit for you and your customers. And we just try to jam pack a lot of things into one app that I think it's sitting up there as one of the most used apps for iOS 360. And now it's increasing on the photo booth side.
Are they going to be doing anything? I know this is kind of off topic, but as far as the design, I know there's another company out there that you're able to actually move the video. So like up and down, left and right, and then put the graphic around that. So instead of it just sitting landscape or portrait, you're kind of able to angle the video and then design your graphic around that for the 360 videos.
So right now, there's no immediate plans. We work closely with a lot of graphic designers. One of our biggest supporters has been Matt Calvert. I think he's based out of the UK.
Yeah, he's good.
I deal with him.
Shout out to him. Booth Motion.
We do
have a webinar because he's making it really easy to create your own animated overlays with custom. I mean, within minutes, you can get an animated overlay personalized. And
is it a video for that, you said?
Yeah, there's a video out there for that I don't, shoot me an email. I'll also put my email, shoot me an email and I can probably get that to you. I don't know if it's live yet, but I was talking to Matt, and if there's not a video, he made one briefly just that explains the process. If there's not a video, I will make a video because he actually donated my webinars some credit. That way I can show you guys how to do it live. Maybe that'll be a future webinar.
Hey DJ,
as well.
Either way, there's a YouTube video that Marty posted some months ago, where he explained how to get the animated overlay, the alpha channel one. So let me look for the YouTube link, and I want to post it here so
Okay.
everybody can see. Maybe the since the app is being updated, maybe the menus will look a little bit different, but the name of the function, the name of the effect is still the same. Is remove BG plus no, sorry. Yeah, it's a combined remove BG plus video, and the other one is overlay alpha.
Overlay alpha.
Yeah, so you need to look for those both effects, and you can use it with the video that has the alpha channel. Okay, the alpha channel is required for these kind of videos. So just be aware of about that.
Yeah, and if that video doesn't, it's not what you're looking for, just shoot me. I just posted my email directly, and I know Matt shared a video with me, and he wouldn't mind if I share it with you all. It was just a quick tutorial on how to load up his effects with Touchpix, and it's super easy to do with his platform. So shout out to him because he's supported these webinars in the past and has given me credit for just be able to show you guys how to use this platform.
Hey DJ, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, man.
How you doing, man? It's Carl with Hit the Angles 360, man.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Good. Hey, so I had asked Charles this a couple weeks ago, because I was trying to do the effects on the 360, like how SnapPick and Zentek does. You know how it goes like fast, slow, has speed ramps and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he told me how to do it, and when I went to go do it, the app just kept on crashing. I put one slow, one fast, one slow, one fast, and they all were in sequential order, but it wasn't showing me any love.
Yeah, so let's I did see a support ticket on the ramp ups. So that's something that's being ironed out right now. There was a support ticket that I saw on the fast ramp ups, and it's gonna be out, or just should be affixed within the end of the week, hopefully. Just wait for the update. The slowdowns, those will work. Try to do the slowdown effects. Let me see if I can show you exactly.
Yeah, the ramp up one's one I had problem with, so I just left it alone and stuff.
Yeah, so I think that I saw a support ticket in there. I think as early as this weekend about that. So I know that's being addressed, and it seems to be some type of bug, but that'll get situated. Usually our developer is super fast with getting those fixes out there. So let me just kind of show people what you're speaking of. So
yeah, because to me that's really the only difference, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, I mean, again, you're hitting on some features that a lot of people are not accustomed to using.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm going to explain this. So he's talking about wanting the control where it goes into slow motion, and he wants to be able to control how slow it goes and how fast it comes out of there. So what you end up doing is going into the hamburger icon. You go over here where it says settings, and we're going to toggle over to where it goes into video effects. Under video effects, you're going to want to go ahead and click on add effect. And we do have so these are all our videos, right?
Right.
So you're going to want to go down on our effects. I'm sorry. So this is the two areas right now where, for example, I'm going to hit slow-mo timing, and I'm going to hit done, but you're not done right here. A lot of people get confused, right? You still have to click on the slow-mo timing inside the gray box. Right. And once I click on there, you see this big line, or the big line, and it has these parameters right here. Well, the entire line represents the area of your video where this effect is going to be applied. Right, so in this case, it's applied somewhere in the middle. So for example, this is a slow-mo effect. Maybe I want my slow-mo effect to be placed at the beginning instead of in the middle. I can go ahead and pinpoint where I want my slow-mo effect. If you want your slow-mo effect on the entire video, just spread it out like this, right? But if you want it in a certain part, then you're gonna go ahead. Maybe I just want my slow-mo effect there, and I'm okay with that. And I'm gonna go ahead and hit save effect, right? And now what I want to do is add another effect, and this will be the speed up effect. Well, this shouldn't work, but let's try it because I might be on an older version of the app too. So let me figure that out. So let's go with speed up. I'm gonna go ahead and hit done. And now from speed up, I want to go ahead and now just kind of enter my speed up there again, or just start it from there. And maybe that's where I want the effect to go into. And see if it lets me do another slow-mo at some point. Slow-mo timing, hit done. And now I want this kind of towards the end. I'm gonna do a quick test right here. It may or may not work, but I do know there's a ticket for the speed up option.
Yeah, because I gave up on the speed up.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm gonna use the back camera here. Just wanted to make sure. I'm using my iPhone, by the way, too. So here we go. Sorry, I'm painting my house too, so I got plastic everywhere. There we go. Let's see how that looks. Let's see if it doesn't crash, maybe we'll figure it out. That's the slow-mo part. Yeah, so it didn't do the speed up. So that's probably why the ticket's in with the speed up.
Okay.
It only did the slow-mo side. The version I'm in, I'm not sure it's the latest. It might be the latest, 45371. So wait for the update. That one should probably turn into a 2, and that's when you'll see that it's been updated. Okay. So
if they get that right, it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, give it about a week, and I'm sure he'll get it right. If it was in there, it means it was working before, and maybe a bug snuck in and caused an issue with that specific effect.
Yeah, because he was saying, because we can put all 6 effects in now, but I'm like, all right, but like I know I'm timing it right, but yeah, it just wasn't working. So I'll wait for the update.
I did see a ticket when you brought that up, that right away it rang a bell. So I know it's being worked on, and just give it about a week. Yeah.
And just a sneak peek, this is gonna be much better. I already see some changes, and this is gonna be much better. So let's wait a little bit on the developers team, and this will be much better. Just be patient.
Absolutely. And one more question for you too.
Sure.
As far as the subscription thing goes, because I see stuff change now. So basically the only difference is, like, when you're in app, you can get the professional subscription. You just can't, quote unquote, white label, right?
Yeah, so we did away with our white label subscriptions. There was a lot of abuse of the system, and that's part of our support team. We have we have kind of a loss prevention team, kind of led by my co-host Julian. So in a sense is we're banning a lot of users for inappropriate use, but
gotcha.
So
yeah,
what I will say this. The in-app purchase, you can use it on your account, as many devices as you own for your business, right? You should be fine. The dual subscription pass, right? You can use the dual subscription pass. It can be used on iOS or Android. So if you purchase through your app store on an iPhone, that subscription is only going to work on iPhone. It will not work on Android. If you purchase through our website, it can work on Android or iOS, but it's only going to be you're only going to be able to use it on 4 devices simultaneously, right? What does that mean? Is that you can have 4 active events at once. If you have more than 4 events, you will be forced to close one before you can load it on a separate device.
And just for clarification on that one too, when you say you can have 4 events, that means you can have 4 events. It'd be like 1 phone and 1 sharing station on sender receiver. It covers that, right?
No. So this is what I mean. It can be activated on 4 devices, meaning that if you're using 1 phone and 1 receiver, that's taking up two licenses for that one activation, right?
DJ, I had this question today for some of the staff. and they told me that only the devices that activate events are counted as an active device. So
Oh, you know what?
the sharing
You're
station are not
100% right.
counted.
Yeah, you're 100% right. So it's because I'm so used to the old workflow. The old workflow, the way I used to use it is I would activate my device as my recorder, and I would activate my second device as well.
So you were scanning
Yeah,
both of them.
I was scanning both of them. But if you're
I got you.
if you're scanning one as a sharing station, I could see that device not being counted because
Yeah.
you're only scanning into the sharing station portion of it. So yeah, you're 100% correct. Thanks, Julian,
Okay.
for that clarity.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure because people were asking me questions about it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure because you're not scanning it for the sharing station, you're just doing sender receiver.
Yeah,
Just put it
correct.
on online sync, and it's the same thing. So
Correct. Yeah, and just for everybody that's on the call, just we're part of the reason why we're able to expand as quickly as possible is there's a lot of money in development into this app, the support team to better help everybody. And we're not the highest priced app, but we're not the lowest priced app either. So just be mindful of that your subscription not only includes 24-hour support, free templates included, free use of scan pics included, free photo booth and not free, but photo booth and 360 support 24 hours a day. We have a great support team. We have free trainings, webinars that we're kicking off now every single Wednesday in English and in Spanish. So that is where the money is kind of coming back, right?
Free
We
one-on-ones.
are, yeah, free one-on-ones. See, there's tons of support out there, and I do understand, people are running a business, but I also know that people out there are not charging what they need to be charging. And if they are truly not able to afford the app, I think there's a bigger issue than the app price, because we're not the highest priced app, but we're also not the lowest priced app. We're somewhere in between, and we're trying to provide awesome support for everybody.
DJ, I have a question for you.
Sure. Who am I speaking with?
It's Roy.
Roy, what's up, Roy? Okay.
A 360 view photo booth. Do you see eventually, in the future, the effects jukebox?
Yeah.
Okay, you're familiar with that, right? How
I'm
you
familiar right here.
right. So you can select random on there, right?
Uh-huh.
And they play randomly, right?
Correct.
Okay. So now, what about an overlay? Do you ever see y'all having, like, say, if you have two overlay, it's going to play them randomly, it's going to interchange them randomly, or do y'all have that capability?
That's a good question, and that's something that we can kick over to the development team because it's been asked before.
Yeah,
I think a lot of users want to use multiple designs and want the user to select the overlay option. So it has been asked before, and we'll kick it over to our development team and see if it's something
DJ,
in the plans.
Because I use it for my clients right now.
In this case, we have an effect that is called the overlay. So you can load the overlay for now. You may need to create a template in blank and just load the overlay from your device. So you can switch between the number of files that you want to use, but you have to do it manually.
That's what I'm saying. I know about the manual way. I know that.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe we can
automatically randomly.
I think they want
something like that.
They want.
I know about the manual way.
I think they want an automated, almost like jukebox, right?
Yeah, like jukebox. Do it randomly and stuff. Right.
How you can select one song or the other.
Yeah.
They kind of want that before the session starts. And if they can do it in jukebox, I'm sure they can do it with this.
Even if it do randomly, it's good.
Yeah.
Hey, DJ, I got a question
or a comment. We'll pass that over to support. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Hey, this is Donaldo. It's been a while since I've been on because I had lost track of the webinars, and I'm glad you guys is back with it. But to some of them guys, this is what I did, and I don't know if this is what they're talking about. I have I use two devices. So when I set up my my first event, and then I scan it on the one device, and then I'll go back and I'll change the overlay, the song for the overlay, and then scan the second phone with the same QR code, and both devices work with different overlays, with a different song, different everything.
No,
Yeah.
what I'm talking about, it'll do it randomly. You don't have to do none of that. It'll do it randomly.
Okay, yeah.
Right. That's what I'm talking. It'll do it randomly and stuff.
Yeah,
I know what you're
yeah.
talking about. Yeah. But I'm talking about where is if, okay, say, because I use multiple software and stuff. And another software I have with my client, it shoots to overlays randomly to them and stuff. And they had 2 different overlays with different music and stuff. That's more like an upsell and stuff. It wouldn't be like basic, it'd be like an upsell.
Hey, you know what, Julian? I'm curious. I didn't hit record on this webinar. Did you hit record? Because I know it's recording.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I hit recording.
Got it. I just saw my button. I'm like, man, thanks for doing that, man. But yeah, any other questions? I know we covered the GoPro and we kind of went a little bit off topic, but I don't mind. I mean, this is your time. You know, we are going to continue to do surveys on our Facebook group to see what topics you want us to cover. Next week, you guys will get, I believe, Charles and Tia doing the webinar, while Julian and I pivot to do a Spanish webinar on the our Spanish support group. But you know, Julian and I bounce over here every other week, and we'll take any requests for future webinars. If you guys want to have more advanced features set for that, we can definitely talk about them. We just want to be able to help people go conduct their business without any doubts about the software not working correctly, because we feel like a high percentage of the users that do encounter issues is based on lack of practice or a little bit of inexperience at times, and we want to clarify that. That way you guys can go out there and be confident and be able to provide your service without any hiccups.
And I got another issue I ran into, I guess, the
Sure.
server, whatever.
Sure.
I saw that there's a stabilization tab on the first screen in the settings.
Uh-huh.
And I had turned it on. I'm using the 14 Pro, and I had turned it on, did a test video with someone at an event, and it just kept on loading and never came to anything. So I just turned it off and the event was fine. But like, what is that exactly for?
Yeah, and that affected, I think, some of the new iPhones, and I think for me reading some of the developer notes on these issues, it didn't affect every user. It affected the newer iPhones. There's a couple of things that I want to say with that. You know, I think every model presents unique experiences that unfortunately we don't catch till some of the end users actually use it, because although the 11 and 12 were really similar, 13 and 14 brought in an extra element with the stabilization, and it had a bug there with the stabilization. Same thing almost with what I wanted to kind of highlight here. For those of you that are using GoPros, right? My experience with the GoPros, if you go into, let's see here, I'll show you exactly within the settings, and it touches on that. That's why I want to be able to provide some clarity on that. So when you go under camera here, right? If I were to select, let's go to GoPro. So if you see the GoPro menu here, people that use GoPro, specifically the newer ones, I think this may also affect some of the older ones. It's recommended that you turn off stabilization on your GoPro, because the software has built-in stabilization, right? The software controls the stabilization. When you have both stabilizations on, it's gonna create a little stutter effect near the end of the video, or sometimes it happens depending on where the bounce back of that boomerang is. It may look like it's a little jitter or a jump effect, and some users call us on the support lines, and they're saying, "Hey, what's going on? My platform's not it's stable. Why is it stuttering like this? Because all the videos look the same." So if you look at this area here where it says trim ending video, that's why this area was created. If you turn on the trim, it's going to trim off like the last couple of seconds, where typically where the stutter appears. But to remedy that issue is to turn off your stabilization on your GoPro and leave the stabilization on the app do its thing. And the stabilization on the app is on menu 1. If you see here, it gives you stabilization options. Well, it can be off, low, normal, or max stabilization. So if you're using a GoPro, just make sure you turn that off on your actual GoPro and leave your stabilization on with the app. So I just wanted to be able to provide that feedback because
So that's on there really just for GoPros, correct?
correct. But for the iPhone, it has it created a bug with the newer iPhone 14. So leave that off. And I think those couple of bugs have been addressed, or that's going to be addressed in the next release, which should be coming out in the next week. I did take a glance into the developer's notes because we frequently have a forum where we're talking about what some of the issues are coming in. And I think those two are the top issues that are being addressed or have been addressed already. Sometimes, the developer is able to fix them real quick, but we have to wait for Apple to approve the update. It gets submitted to the Apple. It gets submitted to Apple, and their department is to review the updates and approve them, and then they're good to go for the general public.
Chain of command, I understand.
Cool. Any other questions before we log off for the night? Hopefully a lot of this information is super beneficial. But again, just want to thank all of you who remained on the call. I know these tend to go for a little while, but hey, this time is your time for you guys to ask away, and hopefully you can learn from this and make your experiences a lot better with our app. All right, with that being said, I appreciate everybody on the call. Hopefully you guys have a great weekend full of events, and join us in 2 weeks. We'll be back, and hopefully we can touch on a topic that you can learn about. So we'll be sending out more poll surveys within our Facebook group, and whatever you guys want to learn about, whether it's DSLR, whether it's Printpix and how to print, anything that you guys want to learn about the software, animated overlays, anything, just participate on that poll, because that's going to gear what the webinars are going to be about moving forward. So I appreciate everybody's time. Everybody have a great evening, great night, wherever you're at. Feel free to reach us on chat, our support line. I did include my email in the event that you guys need to reach me directly. Thank you again, and have a great weekend. Stay blessed.